So our Bible reading today is from the book of Matthew, chapter 5.
Tell me why you are here. You're here to be salt seasoning that brings out the good flavors of this earth. If you lose your saltiness, how will people taste godliness? You've lost your usefulness and will end up in the garbage. Here's another way to put it. You're here to be light, bringing out God colours in the world. God is not a secret to be kept. We are going public with this, as public as a city on a hill. If I make you light bearers, you don't think I am going to hide you under a bucket, do you? I'm putting you on a light stand. Now that I've put you there on a hilltop, on a light stand, shine. Keep open house. Be generous with your lives. By opening up to others, you'll prompt people to open up with God, this generous Father in heaven.
Thank you. Give Harry a round of applause. I love that version of this reading today from the Message translation. I think it really hits the nail on the head. When Charlie first mentioned the idea to me a few months ago of God's iPod, my first thought was, well, I have to choose a Bruce Springsteen song. But to be honest, there are like 15 other songs I could have chosen that I was thinking of. And it made me realise how much good music we have in the world around us. We're surrounded by loads of good music. And of course, music is one of those things that can divide opinion, but can also bring people together. A few weeks ago, at the start of July, if we flick to the slides, I was lucky enough, well, a year and a half ago, I was lucky enough to get tickets to go and see Bruce Springsteen. And at the start of July, a few weeks ago, I went to see him with my good friend Dave at Hyde Park. And I haven't stopped talking about it since. It was one of the best days ever. And there's something powerful, something spiritual even, that happens when thousands of people gather together to sing. And it's hard to put words to. And it was an amazing day. So our song for today is one that Bruce Springsteen does a cover of. It's an old song dating back to 1940s. And it's written by someone called Harry Dixon. And it has its roots in gospel music and in the civil rights movement. But over time, it's a song that has been sort of turned into a song for Sunday school, for children to sing. And we're going to watch it together now. And can we remember, if you're watching at home, I'm afraid we have to mute the stream because we haven't got the license to play the music out onto the stream. So if you're watching at home, if you jump onto YouTube and type in Bruce Springsteen, This Little Light of Mine, you'll be able to find it and watch it. But we're going to have to mute it on the stream, I'm afraid. So, the reading we had today, it wasn't just about light, was it? It also talked about salt, that we are to be like salt. When I was a young person, we went as a group to an event at Vine Baptist Church. And our very own Sue Norton was one of the leaders there at the time. And she was leading part of the session. And she had made these amazing brownies. And she was getting us all to taste them. And obviously, I was hooked in straight away. As a brownie connoisseur, I dived straight in. And the first brownie was good. It was a solid brownie. But I wasn't going to write a letter home about it. It was a good brownie, though. The second brownie... The second brownie, just had a brownie moment. It's the best brownie I ever tasted. And the difference, the blow our mind brownie, had a bit of salt in. It was the salt that really helped bring out the flavour even more. The salt made it stand out. made it different, made it distinctive. And as Christians, our lives should be making people ask that question. What's different about this person? Do we have that salt? That's something that makes us stand out. Now, just a word of caution. This isn't about arrogantly trying to say, oh, look at me, aren't I fantastic because of my faith? It's not about standing out to make ourselves look good. It's about standing out to point people to the one who's the original source of all goodness. And that distinctive is, of course, Jesus. The way he calls us to live in such a way that is so vastly different to the world around us. I think our church values really help draw out these distinctives that Jesus teaches us. I don't know if you've ever been around someone who has that something different about them. It's hard to give words to it almost. It's hard to explain it. But when you see it, you can't unsee it. And in my life, I've been super privileged that I've been surrounded by people like that as I have grown up. But two such people stand out to me. I was lucky enough to meet them when I just turned 18. A couple, that's me, a long time ago. 2012, I think that photo was. I met a couple called Mark and Jamie Buscombe, and they came to our church here as the youth workers in 2010, I think, yeah, 20 around then. They had such a huge impact on my life. And yeah, they were great fun to be around. And yeah, they had amazing personalities and they had a huge sense of adventure. But most importantly, they were both completely fully in for trying to live their lives for Jesus. And it's infectious. It stands out like a light shining on a hill. I love the way the Message version puts this. Oh. You're here to be light, bringing out the God colours in the world. We're here to bring out the God colours in the world, to be a shining light in a world which is so often dark. And this wasn't a foreign idea to the people who would have heard it back then. They would have thought back to this passage in Isaiah. I am God. I have called you to live right and well. I have taken responsibility for you, kept you safe. I have set you among my people to bind them to me, and provided you as a lighthouse to the nations, to make a start at bringing people into the open, into light. If we hide our light, it will go out. I'm going to light a candle. There's a breeze. There's too much of a breeze. Uh-oh. I just lit a candle. And it went out, yeah. If I imagine this candle's lit. You know what a candle's like. Okay, I've lit the candle. If I were to put a glass over the candle, what would happen? It would go out. You know that. You know your basic science. If we hide our light, it will go out. That's because light is only good for the world when we live it out, not shelter it or hide it. Without sharing this gift, it would eventually go out. At my old workplace where I used to work before here, there was a sign on the wall, and it said, "No one cares how much cake you have unless you're willing to share it with others." It's the same for light. Unless it's shared with others, then it's not going to spread. The thing with cake, though, is that as you share it, it gradually goes less and less as you share the cake around. With light, as you share light, it grows and grows and grows. I won't try and light all these candles to prove the point. It didn't work. While reflecting on this this week, I was reminded of a quote from Martin Luther King Jr., and he said this: "Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that." This great light that we're talking about, the salt, this love that he's talking about and that Charlie talked about last week, is found perfected in Jesus, the author and perfecter of our faith, who through his life, his death and resurrection, showed us the way to live a full life. A life full of truth, full of meaning, full of grace and love. So my prayer for us today is that we go into the week ready to shine, so that our lives may be so bright that people stop to wonder why, stop to ask that question, what salt are you putting in your brownies? Each of us have light. Each of us have the image of God within us. And our role is to help other people see it in themselves and to point to the original author of the light.